and welcome to 4 Top 3s. I'm
Hello.
B.
Hi, V. I'm
Hi.
Cassian.
Oh, hey, Kesset.
Hi, Kesset.
I'm Aethor.
Hi, Aethor.
Hi, Aethel.
I'm Neil.
Yay! Flawless intro for once. So today's episode is going to be Aethel's choice. So, Aethel, what did you throw at us late Friday night?
Take note, people. Friday night was 3 days ago or 2 days ago, depending on how you count your days.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It's not like I gave it to them an hour ago.
You might as well have.
Yeah, but how much time did you have, and how much time did we have? We had so much time to come up with something, and
I
we
know.
had 2 days to think of stuff for this topic.
Okay.
I don't even know what this topic means.
The topic is your top 3 favorite tropes. And I'm going to do a thing now. Kesset, I know you and me can talk for days about our least favorite trope. So there will be no least favorite trope talk here. We're going to talk about our favorite tropes. Remember?
Unless one of your tropes is my least favorite trope, and then I will call it out.
Okay.
What's
I
the
found the
phrase?
loophole.
Haha! A phrase I heard the other day is no bummers, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going with no overt bummers.
No bummers, guys.
Yes, definitely call out if it's not the favourite and why, but let's not do bummers. So tropes in... we hear people throwing around the word tropes all the time to basically mean negative things.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of not what it is. It's why we want to do positive ones, because tropes are just toolkits for writing. They're just ideas and themes that pop up quite frequently.
Absolutely.
And if you aren't aware of what a trope is, you're going to know at least 12 by the time we finish this episode.
Unless we have overlaps.
Yes,
most
of
12,
course, but I do
least
have
3.
some backup. I do have some honourable backups if absolutely necessary. Well, Aethel, you started this mess,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that you should start.
All right. I'm going to start by saying I'm not following any guides or anybody else's definition of tropes or what is a trope and what isn't a trope. I'm just picking what I like. So if you have opinions, leave it in the comments and it will feed the algorithm somehow.
Feed the algorithmic god, please.
My third favorite trope is the dumbass fucking trope that is in the start of a lot of video games and old young adult novels. It's when the main character goes on like a simple fetch mission or a quest at the start of the story, and then when he comes back to his hometown, it's been burnt down, everybody's dead, and his family's missing. And then we usually do like a time skip until they're like teenagers or adults, and now they're super badass and they're trying to find their family. I love that trope so much. It's such a good, clean slate. You got your character orphanized, you got a tragic backstory. It's all like push, everything's ready for you. You got the story ready. I love that.
It's like the equivalent of the pizza guy coming into the room that's on fire.
yeah. What did I miss?
You would so love Korean drama because, like, most of the ones that I've watched started like that. Like, they always have, like, if there's, let's say 20 episodes in the series, they always have, like, the first 2 episodes, like, explaining the entire backstory of that character as a child actor. And then we always have, like, this time skip with an adult actor. Mm-hmm. And they're always, like, these badasses trying to solve those mysteries from 20 years ago.
Yeah, that shit's great.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Like, of course, it doesn't have to be that the hometown is burnt down. It can literally just be they leave and come back and their family's missing. Like, you just need to orphan them and give them a bit of a tragic backstory. One of my weirdly favorite one is from Breath of Fire 2. In the game, you leave the town, you go search for your sister, and you find her in front of like a statue, like of a giant dragon. And then you fall asleep. And then when you wake up, your sister's missing. You go back to town, and nobody recognizes you or knows where you're from. And that's the start of the game. It's like, what the fuck just happened? Why did my family disappear and why does nobody remember me? I love that.
Wait, isn't the plot to one of the Fable games as well?
Does he... in the first...
There's a Fable game. They have a sister and then she goes missing and then, oh, look, the witch is the sister.
That's the first Fable game. And the first Fable game is the most classic of classic. Mm-hmm. You go out of town to like, with a letter, and then when you come back, the big bad bandit is murdering everybody. And you watch your dad die, your mom is missing, and your sister's missing. That's how you get the fucking story going. And then you do a time skip.
Star Wars.
What?
What was that?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Uncle Ben and whatever the other ones were. I was going to say Owen, and I'm pretty sure it's not Uncle Ben and Owen. I don't think Star Wars was that progressive.
Wait. No, I think Uncle Ben was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, wait.
He didn't die in that fire. What's wrong with you?
I thought Uncle Ben was Spider-Man.
It's fine.
Who am I thinking of?
All right, I'm going to have to Google this because, like, we're all wrong.
Uncle Ben is Spider-Man. You're 100% right. Uncle Owen is probably Star Wars. But yeah, there's not much to say about this trope. I just, like, it has been in a lot of, like, video games that I used to play when I was younger. And I always liked it. It was such a easy, flat start of a story. Like, you start with a little bit of, like, an upbeat, family-friendly, happy vibe, and then you throw some grimdark on top of it and make them an orphan. Like,
I mean, I guess Full Metal Alchemist had that.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. They burned down the house themselves.
Yeah, but it doesn't start there. I think it needs to start there. Is where my trope. Like, that's how I'm defining my trope.
Yeah.
You can choose that trope as your background in Mass Effect.
Yeah, true. Jesus Christ, Mass Effect. Yeah, that's it. That's my favorite. My
Effect's
top
so
3.
good.
Trope. It's a good game.
Where were we?
I like it when you burn families alive and leave orphans behind.
Yes.
Yes.
It is
trope.
also such a classic D&D character background too.
Oh,
That is very true. Like,
yes.
I guess I can understand if you like it in like normal media, but I feel like in like if I think of D&D and like actual plays, I feel like that trope is a little bit overdone.
Yeah, it is. Like
because
it
like
is
almost
done
everyone is like an orphan, or like starts out as like an orphan, has very little family ties. I mean, it's a classic thing for D&D games.
reason.
Yeah. But it always feels like, yeah.
Yeah, it is like definitely like it's a good backstory, being that it gives your character motivation to get out and explore the story. Because, again, tragedy in the background or a kickstarting event in actual plays, it's a reason and motivation for the character to no longer stay at home and be comfortable and safe. You rug that out from underneath them.
Yeah.
But if you're a really smart player and you're a really good GM, have the family go missing and not burn them alive. Because plot points later on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I had Tauri have a family.
Yeah. We also don't see enough good, happy, like, solidarity families.
Yeah, all the people are always like, I have no family ties. I can go anywhere in the world without, like, needing to write like, letting anyone I used to know where I am fucking going or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're faced with the difficulty when you have a family in D&D. We're way off topic right now, but whatever. You're faced with a problem with when you have a family in D&D is, like, if I was playing a character and my character's a father and I have a fully healthy family at home and I have 500 gold in my pouch, there's literally no reason not to go home. You stop fighting goblins, stop fighting liches, go home. You have enough money to keep your farm or whatever family you have going for the rest of your lives. That's like the equivalent of like being out. I don't know. There's no good equivalent. Like, yeah.
Well, no, I think there is, because like parents in like the real world analog is parents who take dangerous jobs. It is in the bigger picture to keep their family safe. For example, we have a character who has children and they're out there kicking ass and saving the world and grabbing bleep, 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 censor won't spoiler stuff. But like, they're out there kicking ass despite having a family because it's all about protecting them. But if you are good at playing that off and good at running that as a motivation, then you're solid. But a lot of people, alas, aren't that good. So yeah, this is me wanking you off, Kessler. But yeah, like that's...
Well, we also have Caden.
Yes, we also have Caden. But Caden... I feel like we have railroaded into not being allowed to do anything fun and exciting. So, yeah, there's definitely positive and negatives to that. But, yeah, I think as a trope, it's an interesting one. It definitely brings out drama. which is what we're always looking for. Cool. All right, Kesir, you're up next. What have you got?
So, my top three. No, my third. I get this.
My three, third thrice.
Thrice removed. My number 3. Got it. Nailed it. Is one I think I feel like I've brought it up before, but it's like if a story involves a lot of either constructed languages, constructed cultures, or like alien anatomy. Like, I absolutely love if a story involves that kind of thing. And yeah, I just like there was a time period when I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and like I specifically looked for via TV tropes, actually, for books that involved specifically alien anatomy, because there's something interesting in like seeing how those authors like build the world around that character with these different anatomies, and build up the world around that, or like even out of that it evolves the culture of that setting, and there aren't many like I guess not serious, but like episodic stories that have a lot of that going on. And I've actually noticed through Korean drama watching that like Korean dramas act as a very good substitute for that to me, because it's still a culture that I'm not familiar with. So it acts like as nice, I get some culture on top of it being like an entire world built around this culture, and I learn to understand this culture through the people that interact with the world because of their upbringing and whatever. And that's just something I'm really interested in. Like I actually got recommended a story the other day by someone that it was like a story set in New York or something, and he sent me the trailer, and I was immediately not interested because I was like, this is boring as fuck, the setting, I don't want this.
I don't want New York. I want space or Korea. Your choice. Your move,
what
Hollywood.
About Korea in space? Yes!
Everything is better when you add the words in space.
It's always better in space.
Which is also a trope.
True.
So are you just like, I'm trying to like figure out exactly what you were saying. Are you saying that like as long as there's an interesting culture that you haven't been like fully exposed to, that is kind of like a thing you're super into?
Yeah, definitely.
I see exactly what you're talking about. There was book I read a long time ago, which actually involves two of the things you're talking about. One was there was a race of crabs, and if they molded, they went from like smaller crabs to big crabs, and if they molded without being interacted with the intelligent crabs, they just became feral. And so that was like an entire race that was in the book. They weren't super explored, but I really liked them. And the
was
other
it like
thing,
an alien race?
Yeah, in the book, humans are in space. We get captured by a really evil race. Yeah, we get captured by like an evil race, and they have these crabs to make all their like machines.
Yeah.
And they explore the crab race a little bit. But the other alien race was kind of cool because they were like kind of Klingon-ish in the fact that they were like a warrior race. They were just like super aggressive. And they counted to 8 because they only had 8 fingers. So they would always like, when they said like 10 or 20, they meant 8 and 16, depending because of how they counted. It was really fun. They would always and they had like mottos and rules. Like I think you would enjoy like the first 2 books. Sorry, give it to me, baby. I don't have the name of the books on hand. I will send it to Kesser, and that will be included.
And you'll give me the references link. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
The references. Yeah, they had something. They had a phrase. It was for the clan, and if your boss said for the clan, that meant you were supposed to fucking listen, or they were going to make sure you didn't get to have any offsprings. That was like the warrior clan was all about like leaving behind like a legacy. So like if you broke a for the clan command that was in the interest of the mission, it was literally just like, yeah, your wife got shot, no, your children got murdered. Like that's I
thought you were going in a different direction with that.
Oh no, they don't rip your dick off. They just make sure you don't have any offsprings. You also get murdered, of course. I don't think they murdered the wife. I think they just murdered all the babies.
Oh.
They had eggs, so like all it was like an egg race. So everybody had like a bunch of eggs in storage, and then like doing well on mission meant that your eggs were unfrozen and raised to be warriors. That's how your legacy kept going.
Yay!
So yeah, if I'll send it to you. I think you might enjoy it.
Yay! Hope it exists as an audiobook because I do not have time to listen to read anything.
It does.
Also, my fear of texts.
Fear of text.
I fear the letters.
Well, I think a lot of that definitely comes out in Counterbalance, because that is entirely constructed and definitely not our world. But I do like that you have Lynn as our like human-looking.
The perspective, or what it's called, the lens.
Oh,
the lens, the fish out of water trope.
Yeah. that's
so we can experience.
My like for that is also why I particularly like RAL in TLD, because like a lot of that kind of stuff comes up when like in regards to RAL.
Mm-hmm.
It rarely comes up if you just have like, I don't know, dwarves and elves or whatever. It so rarely comes up. I don't know, for some reason, the typical fantasy races just don't interest me because they don't
I know. I had no
good.
interest in playing Baldur's Gate until Dragonborns were in it. And I was like, yeah. You know?
Do they not have cat races?
No, not yet.
What
or
the
not
fuck?
Without. I guess I don't know if there's. I mean, I know there's mods for the game. I don't know if there's any like wild mods like that. I have no idea what there is right now.
Oh,
I haven't even beat the game. I'm not even halfway through.
Like I enjoy RAL, especially when we go to places like Daemarius. Because we discuss dumb shit that we wouldn't think about normally, like the fact that chairs don't have backs.
Yeah.
They all have to be stools because we have a big ass tail. Like no one would have a chair with a back. Like that's just not.
Except if it's just a wooden chair where the back is like two stilts and then a back piece. Like there's always a hole built into them.
But you would always like want one of the wooden pieces to be out of the way so you can slip into the seat and you don't have to like back up into it like a dump truck.
like those. Do you know? I don't know if this is like a German thing, but like there were some schools where you had like those tables those chairs that had like a table built into them, and like if you are left-handed, I think you're fucked because of the way you have to sit in the chair and the table folds in.
No,
kind of like that.
That is so alien to me. I saw these fucking desks in every movie, every show, every school, and every fucking thing I watched had these like desks that open up, and then like I go to school and there's no fucking drawers or anything to open. It's boring as sin.
No, ours was just tables, like literal just tables. Like there were no drawers, there were no lifting compartments, there was no attached to the chair. No, they were just tables because then the teacher could pick up the tables and rearrange the classroom depending on what activity we're doing. So like we only ever saw those creaky open up ones. They didn't have the chairs attached. They were just the ones that opened up. That was like when we went to visit the Victorian school. We did not have that in public school.
We didn't have. We only had a few rooms that had specifically those chairs, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it was like so you have like an entire room where you can just store the chairs in a corner if you needed the space.
Yeah. The desks I grew up with were super stackable. The chairs too, like. But if I remember correctly, I don't know. I think it's in Japan. They have the same kind of school system, the chair system, but they have a rule that like for every 9 right-handed tables you have to have 1 left-handed in the classroom. That's just a rule they have, and sometimes they have more left-handed, some they don't, and then the somebody just has to suck it up.
The system is broken. Wow, that's cool.
It's a creature design.
Yeah, I love creature design. Give me creature design.
I do too. I feel like character design is more to do with humans and thus like more to do with fashion and stuff, which I am less good at. But like I love creature design and stuff. I was always the guy that played the aliens in Halo. I love seeing his dumb little fucking hands.
3 fingers, still types
Saying
with
that.
5 fingers.
Yeah, I'll
Yep.
always play the non-human races and whatever it is.
Yeah, me most of the time. Me too. Like in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like I had when I started playing World of Warcraft, I had a friend who played, I think, Alliance, and it bothered me so much that they did not have like a single non-humanoid quote unquote race, except for like the Night of were probably the closest back in the day. So I always was like,
that
no,
was
let
generally
me play,
the closest.
let me play the Horde. I want to play a Tauren.
That was my favorite thing about switching over to Horde, is that I got to watch my druid healer. Her name was Valonda. Just wander around as a fat ass cow. It was amazing. But what made it worse, I spent most of my time in tree form, so I had like giant tree bros just bouncing around doing the little tree dance. So I rarely got to see her as a cow anyway. But like,
well, now Alliance has werewolves. And what else? Wait,
it's
Horde
not
did Horde get
Draenei.
goblins? Yeah, they got aliens.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Aliens.
I like the Draenei.
Yeah, we got the aliens from the Draenei, and then the Alliance got werewolves.
And
I
the
want to say
goblins.
both sides got werewolves, but I think I'm wrong.
Or Horde. What came with
They're Horde.
goblins?
Pandas? No.
Okay.
Goblins were
almost-
no,
pandas are
neutral.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goblins were Horde because the gnomes were allies or alliance or whatever they were called.
Yep.
So both had like a
Okay, yeah.
tinkerer race.
The opposite of the Draenei were the Blood Elves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They came at the same time.
Yeah, that was it.
Hmm.
No, I don't like the werewolves now because they have really shit British accents and annoys the shit out of me.
Well, V, I'm very American and unable to notice. So,
It's like they were trying to be Cockney, but some of them fucked it up too hard, and then some of them were trying to be like, RP English, and I was like, this is
That's
shit. I hate everything
hilarious.
about this.
that's hilarious.
But my friend Jay did make a werewolf called Terry Worgan, which made me laugh so fucking much.
Okay, guys, we need to move on. We're already 25 minutes in and we already had 2.
Oh God! Okay, right. We swear we're trying to be better, folks.
cut.
Y'all started talking about desks.
Yeah, but cultures have tasks, and that's what Caston is into.
We're not here to talk about culture. We're here to talk about tropes in not real things.
We're not a comedy culture podcast. We're pure faction. Facts here.
Only
Based
World
on
of Warcraft facts.
Well, it's very clear to see the influence of that trope on Counterbalance.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I like it. You do it good.
Yay.
I'll go next because I'm trying to buy Neil time to try and decide what the
Got my first one
choices
and
are
then
going to
none
be.
others.
Okay, I'll help stall. My third favorite trope is heroic sacrifice.
Ooh.
Because without a doubt, it always makes me like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. I think the world would burn if it was in my hands. Fuck. Because they're often like really like hard choices, and it usually ends up being like, their character dies to, allow something else to happen or to save the world. And it's something about that. It's just like, not everyone has that ability to do it. And I think in my heart, I might just be a giant coward. I wouldn't want to do it. And often they're like, it should be at the end of the series. It should be at the end of whatever arc is going on. So it shouldn't be like at the beginning because there's no emotional impact from that. There's no story impact. It's like, it's not the same. It needs to come towards the end for it to have like the most effect. And like, it's just, there are so many weird little examples I have of this, and they're always just like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. And like, there's the one that like hit me first that this was a thing was the end of season 5 of Buffy called The Gift, and she yeets herself into a portal
Spoilers.
to save the world. Spoilers. I think Buffy's been out after 2006, so maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
I haven't actually watched
Yeah.
it in its entirety.
You
I'm not
haven't or
going
you
to,
have?
but like,
Oh yeah, don't. I would not recommend it unless you really want to go watch it. I actually wouldn't recommend watching it. Read all the people and analyze it because it's way better now. It's so dated and it's so old.
Disagree. Hard disagree. As somebody who watched all of Buffy in 2022, go watch it if you want to watch it. Don't read what other people have to say about it. It's genuinely entertaining past the first season.
Yes, the first season is rough. The seventh season is not good. But yeah, like season 5 is when they go from like one series, and they've been building up for the last 3 series to this epic conclusion. And then in season 6 and season 7, they actually completely change network, so they restart the story again.
oh no.
But yeah, like she jumps in there and she dies to save the world and save her sister. In gaming terms, it's Fallout 3 with the water purifier. Like, yep, I could send someone else to die, or I could do it. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever done it as a character.
I need to make a point. I instantly, when you said heroic sacrifices, I was like, oh yeah, there's this. And then I thought, like, the worst probably version of that is Fallout 3. Because almost without a doubt, you have Fox with you, a guy who's healed by radiation. And he's like, I will not rob you of your destiny. Go and die, buddy.
Yeah. I'm like, Fox, no, fuck you. I don't want to die. So invariably, either I send Sarah from the Lions in or I send Fox in. I've never done it. So it wasn't until I watched others speedrun it or play it that I realized that there is a code you had to enter and that the code was significant from way back in the day. I would never remember that. I didn't even know it till I watched someone else play it. That's how little I go in there. Like, I just never did. So yeah, like, there's that. And at the end of We're Alive, We Were Here, which is a gaming franchise. There's like 4 of them now, I think.
Oh, yeah.
At the end, one of you has to stay behind so the other can escape. I'm like, oh, I love it. It's so fun. And I think the first time you and I did, Aethel, we did that. We spent 20 minutes at the fucking gate yelling at each other to leave.
Yeah. You weren't listening to me. I was trying to save your ass.
Yeah, it's not happening.
What was it? In the most recent one, you find yourself floating in the water, and I pushed you off the barge?
I felt genuinely heartbroken you did that. I was going to try and find a way. We both have to survive somehow, right? It was heartbreaking. But that one less so at the end of 4 because you yeet someone off the hull. But yeah, and one of my favourite book series is Of the Empire. And the last book, Mistress of the Empire, there is this old grizzly soldier who's like missing a leg and he's on crutches and he has a sword and he's a military man and he head held high and he buys time for the protagonist to enact her plan. And the entire thing is like sticking 2 fingers up at the magicians who are the bad guys in book 3 and basically taunting them until he dies because he's just buying time. And I love that trope.
Casting vicious mockery?
For a reason. Huh?
Casting vicious mockery?
Yeah, basically. See, the text in it is like whenever someone dies to the fire magic of the magicians, it is also like they're burning and screaming in agony, and that's all you hear. And the way it's written in the book for when this particular character dies, Kyoki, it's like as if the stubborn old man would never scream, and it was almost as if he has a smile on his face, even in death. It's like, damn, dude. So yeah, it's something about it I like, and it affects a lot of the characters that I play as well. Like if there's a chance to heroically throw myself on the fire as an RP player, I'm all on that, unless specifically I'm playing a coward. But that's very few and far between. So yeah,
I'm a huge fan of the heroic sacrifices myself, but I have like we just said, like about the Fallout thing. It's like it needs to be set up well. I will fucking throw a table if it's like I will do a last stand against the horde, and it's like, okay, what are you doing? Buying us time? No, we're already at the escape. Okay, so why are you staying behind, buddy?
Yeah,
I will.
It is like I will hold off the horde as we jump into the helicopter 4 steps up the hill. Like, what are you doing? Get in the helicopter, leave.
Just go without me.
No, just
wait. Why?
No,
go. Wait,
I'll buy time. We're wasting
just this
time.
conversation has wasted more time than it would have taken to just get in the thing. Come on, let's go. Come on. They're not here. We literally just stopped having a conversation. Why?
Yeah, as like the antithesis is like, I genuinely hate the opposite. Like, I do hate that. Like, last minute, I'm going to stay behind for no real reason. It's like, no, this is such a waste and it's not earned. And you can always tell when it's forced in by writers on TV shows because they can't keep the actor anymore. And it always feels forced. I hate that too. I like it executed well.
But I'm a huge fan of heroic sacrifices when it's done properly. When you have a character with a set of skills in an area that is confined and dangerous, and it's like, I have to do this. You guys can't. Start running, because like I'm not going to be able to finish this before this area gets too dangerous. Fixing nuclear reactors, or
that's a common one.
Yeah, something like that.
Someone has to physically hold this button down because there's no way we could duct tape this.
Yeah.
I think there's also like bonus points if it's like, if the reason the character does the heroic sacrifice is because they like something in them changed and they found a reason to like go up again. For example, if the character used to be a coward and they finally decided, now I'm gonna take a stand and I'm gonna make a difference, like that's definitely like bonus points for that kind of heroic sacrifice.
Or
like go up against an enemy that they had like some kind of dealings with for whatever reason, I don't know, background together, and they always ran from them. I guess like actually Puss in Boots 2, Last Wish.
Yeah, where he faces down.
Yeah.
That's the best movie.
What was the name of that TV show we were watching where people were like fracturing their minds so they could go to work and not remember it?
Oh, yeah. I think it was a Netflix show, wasn't it?
In it, you have a character who's like super focused on work. Just like, don't ask questions, don't be difficult, just focus on work. And then he accidentally learns that in the outside world, he might have had a kid. And his character does a massive 180 from that point and starts breaking rules and doing daring things. And it's such a fantastic, like, to see this absolute pencil pusher all of a sudden just find a spine and like, oh, that's why you guys were fucking around. Because I hadn't even thought I might have a kid. This is amazing. It's like, like he starts taking massive chances at that point. It's very fun to watch.
What's that movie where they're hunting like the giant dinosaur or snake or something?
Jurassic Park.
And the guy is going and it's clearly one of those sacrifice scenes and he's like pulling the pins on his grenade thinking that it's going to eat him, and it just whacks it with his tail.
King Kong.
He blows off in the distance.
It's Kong Island, I think it is. Yeah. There's it's like a giant raptor.
Yeah, you're right.
This massive sacrifice.
King Kong. Yeah.
And then the thing just slaps him. It's
amazing.
So good. Yeah, a good trope to subvert too.
I love any trope when it's like turned upside down. Just any of them.
Oh, is your top trope turning tropes upside down?
Yeah.
We did it. We found one. So yeah, like you can probably see in basically anything I'm in, you will always see like the heroic sacrifice line. I'll always go down there. I'll always put it in writing. Also, it ups odds. I like it. It makes things meaningful. So at least to me, yeah. That's my third trope. All right, Neil, what have you got?
All right. This will surprise no one.
Okay.
Cats.
No. Cats are a trope.
They can be.
Real.
My third one is the reluctant hero.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first part of the hero's journey, basically.
I don't want to leave the Shire. What about third breakfast? You know? I don't want to be out on adventures. I have a beanbag chair back home. Are you kidding me? All that stuff just humanizes those characters, you know?
Yeah. 100%. I can empathize with the reluctant hero. It's the, like, oh, come on a great adventure. It's like, I look around, I'm like, yeah, I could sell my shit and just, like, go to Myanmar. That would be an adventure. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me.
Like, I'm reluctant to do the washing. I just think I'm going to go save the world. Like, I don't have that energy. I don't want to do this.
Fuck. No, you gotta have a reluctant hero from time to time. They're such a fantastic contrast, and especially like if they have a good life. It's kind of spooky to see a character that has like a full-fledged family that's healthy and happy, and they're like thriving in their job, and then there's someone like, "Hey, let's go on a suicide mission," and the guy's like, "Fuck yeah!"
It's also seeing like how much weight like something XYZ thing about the character or in their story contributes to why they're doing what they're doing and going anyways. You know, why are they leaving the Shire? Why are they doing the thing?
Yeah,
Gandalf brainwashed me and lied and didn't tell me about his eagle friends.
He hooked us in with an inordinate amount of like weed or something. Like,
Gandalf was blowing smoke rings the whole festival. Yeah. We did fireworks, and he fucking filled us with this. He said we'll go have a great time, and it wasn't a great time. It took 3 movies. It was crazy. And then at the end, he had his friends come pick us up anyways. Like, what? I missed third breakfast for months. Gandalf. I hate you.
No, he loves Gandalf. He jumps on the bed with him in slow motion, remember?
I know. I love those movies. They're so good. But you're wrong. They're so good.
I do not remember that scene.
The cinematography and everything, they're impossible not to enjoy. Come on.
I will give
Smeagol,
it that it does look beautiful. I would give it that the Hobbit homes are gorgeous and that the fight scenes are very AI controlled and just look terrible. I would give it that Elijah Woods' eyes get super blue at points and it looks awesome. But I will not give it much else, Neil. I fucking hate them. The more I'm told you're wrong, the more I'm gonna hate them.
Like, I know I should be the one loving them because they have they are based on constructed languages, but I'm not into them.
When you mentioned constructed languages, I was like, you must love Lord of the Rings, right?
No.
Like you read the Silmarillion or whatever the fuck it's called.
Silmarillion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah, well done. Yeah, that's basically like an entire book of just like, then this god existed and he created this area. And
but for some reason they just don't do anything for me. I'm not entirely sure what it is. They just feel like the entirety of the story feel old, I guess, in a way
you
that
just
I
hate
don't like.
legacy media.
It's the traditional thing. It's the reason that other things are things. It's the thing. It's not something new. It doesn't try to be something new. It's not.
I know.
To be. Come on.
Like I bet your ass, Lord of the Rings, like really solidified the hero's journey in the Western world. Like how fucking well it plays it. Of course, it existed before, but like.
I think it's probably also really responsible for a lot of the fantasy tropes that we have.
Oh yeah,
like just a lot of them.
You can't get away from hoity-toity, long-lived elves with fancy houses in the trees, and you can't get away from the greedy dwarves living under the mountain and their book of grudges and their accents.
I love the book of grudges. That's the only thing if he is responsible for the Book of Grudges, it's the only thing I'll thank him for.
I don't think so. I think that's Warhammer dwarves. I think they have the Book of Grudges.
Warhammer, yeah. But again, that's based off of like some of the Tolkienian races.
Oh,
like,
100%.
It has affected a lot. I don't know. But reluctant heroes are good. Yeah. Is that what you see in Rel? He's made to go along on this journey. He's
100%.
Yeah, I think that was well, obviously, but like I like I didn't think that, you know, when you're bringing someone like Rel into the world and what it was, he was definitely very alien. He was very not a part of the world, and I had to make him feel like it was, you know? So I had to give him very normal characteristics, like normal people stuff. Like adventuring, he's the most out of place thing. But I lost my train of thought.
he's trying to be normal, but he doesn't fit in. He is a square peg, and there's a bunch of round holes around, and he's just like
he's our fish out of water.
Yeah,
like he is our he's our.
He's trying to lead a normal life in a place that wasn't made for him, which is actually, funnily enough,
they have all these chairbacks and shit. And
Elemental.
He's out of place, but he's not outgoing.
Yeah,
and like there's a reason why he's here, but like, you know, it doesn't mean that he's an adventurer just because he's from somewhere, you know, circumstances were as they were. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed humanizing Rawl, giving him a lot of fears and making him argue with everyone always.
Just going to give you one item, Neil.
He complained.
One item, and that item.
300 episodes of complaining.
The item I will give you, Neil, is the beanbag chair. Fuck you. The most humanizing thing, just this weird little thing. Fuck you. Yeah, times.
Oh, by the way, Neil, we have way better beanbag chair than you have. We have a fat boy.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Good.
You should be. It's really comfy. I am, however, slightly overweight and very old, so it's really hard to get out.
I used to have one, but I gave it to my boss.
You gave your fat boy to your boss?
Yeah, because I was barely using it, and it would have taken up space when I moved.
Oh, they're huge.
So it was like, yeah. I don't know if it's a fat boy, but it was a really big one, and my mom got it for me like almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
And like I barely ever used it. I think I used it I actually used for TLD recordings a few times. Because my chair was making so much noise and the beanbag chair made less noise.
In what universe does a beanbag? I mean, maybe if you're still...
because we had hardwood floors in the apartment, and I had like a thing that did rolly thingies.
Yeah. No, you guys, audience can't see this, but I'm swiveling back and forward the entire recording because I am such a antsy boy. I cannot stop. Antsy.
Well, thank you for that, Neil. And a little window into Rawl.
Hey, is it time for an ad break?
It's not. In 2 entries' time, it is time for an ad break.
Are we doing it in the middle now? Yes,
I'm trying to get it roughly in the middle, or when one of us jokingly says we need to put an ad in.
We need to put an ad in.
No. All right, Aethel, what is in your second spot?
All right, this is maybe a weirdly specific one, but I like it, and it kind of tangentially get related to a bigger one that more people might know.
Oh.
But I love The Castle in the Sky. I don't know what it is about it. I love a floating city that has like rocks and everything underneath it, and it's just off in the distance. It's usually introduced really early in the story, but nobody can go there, and nobody knows what's up there, and your character just wants to know or find it. I love that shit.
We had this discussion, Aethor.
Okay.
The first BioShock was better than Infinite.
It 100% is. 100%. BioShock Infinite is a mass of wasted potential, but we're being positive today.
No bummers, guys.
No, I genuinely, I love that. And as part of that, I really, really do love, Fractured World, where the entire, imagine, the scene where in TLD, where the team fights, Dravos, where the earth starts cracking and pieces are floating away. I love that shit. There's something so epic and cinematic about it. I just absolutely my brain catches fire when I see or hear that described, and I absolutely love it. And I literally recently bought an entire fucking Steam game, probably $20 just released, probably the most recent game I've bought in many, many years, because it had fractured islands and airships and stuff. And the game was trash.
Oh no! My friend Chicky actually has a favorite game series. It's called Artunelico, and it plays in a in a world that like a few 100,000 years ago, the humans fucked up the Earth. Like, it's probably an alien Earth, but it's not our Earth. Like they fucked it up so hard that like the entire surface of Earth is uninhabitable. So like it's toxic. So they built like 3 towers. And all humans live on those towers, and they are high as fuck, and like they in the series there are 3 parts of the series, and each series plays on one of those towers, and the entire tower, like the weather system and whatever, like is connected to like an let's say an interface kind of thing that a few humans can interact with by quote unquote song magic.
Technology.
But it's like the basis of that world is kind of what you described.
Yeah,
it's just a very different kind of factored world.
Yeah, it's the same idea. I absolutely fucking adore that kind of shit. There's also just something so fun about like destroying the Earth.
Worlds!
like, oh, we're going to travel somewhere. Well, you can't walk anymore. Like, that's just out of the fucking picture.
Do you want to know where the floating parts and breakup of the world came from for the Dravos fight?
Please tell.
It comes from World of Warcraft. Nagrand, baby.
Oh, God fucking damn it. I'm sure somebody else out there...
It was not Laputa?
Huh?
It was not Laputa?
See, Laputa is one of the ones that comes to mind when I think Castle in the Sky. 100%. It's so fucking
Probably
good.
one of the famous ones.
Oh, so there's an episode of Stargate where the Goa'uld are hunting these like very rare invisible creatures that fly around and need help and stuff. And they come across this group of humanoids who like live amongst the earth. They will never do violence. They're very chill. And at the end, there's things in the episode, it's really good, but the crux is, at the end of the episode, those people who live with nature and are really chill, they reveal that they have been hiding the animals that Goa'uld have been hunting, and then they release and actually show they have a city in the sky that they've just kept hidden. Because they're such pacifists. Like, we're not fighting, we're just hiding it. And it's beautiful. Yeah. I love that episode.
Flying
I will
cities,
try and find
man.
you a visual.
Flying cities are amazing. I absolutely adore them. Absolutely adore them. Though I don't know why I'm even mentioning this. The probably most dropped ball of all flying cities I've ever experienced in my life was genuinely my favorite video game series. Just randomly at the end of the game, you go up a giant elevator and you go into a city in the sky. Never at any point was this hinted at before in the game. It just is there. It's just the finale of the game happens there. And you're just like, could we have hinted that there was a city in the sky at some point? Like
that reminds me of the Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh no, it's not the movie, but like the manga. It has like there's a floating city that is, I think it's called Jerusa, and the bottom city is Salem. Is called like the bottom city is called Salem, and like the top city is like super high tech, and they throw like all their scraps down and like. They collect like all the scraps down in that city and make like robo fights and stuff. Like that's where the Battle Angel Alita thing comes from. Like she's half a cyborg or whatever.
Those are also great. The ones where we're like we have literal like rich people live up top. Then we got poor people at the level below, and then we have the slums below that, where there's not even law and order. It's such a that's such a good setting for like you can go from like pristine ivory towers to like literal mutants. Like and also it's a great a critique of capitalism and statism and stuff like that. So it's easy.
We will be shot if we do not mention altered carbon after that description, because that really it's such a sci-fi future punk neon punk bullshit, which is literally like the rich people live in the sky and it's so clean, and then everyone else is on the bottom just scraping for drugs and the ability to live. Like, yeah, we would be shot if we'd never mention that. It's also good. Please watch it.
I need to watch it.
And also there's a hotel AI called Poe, which I think is awesome.
One more story that comes to mind is like, I think I mentioned the series before, the Books of the Raxora. which also involve like a lot of con culture, which is why I like it. But it plays in a world that is called the Three Worlds, because it like you have races that live in the air, you have races that live on land, and you have races that live in sea. And like there are a lot of floating islands, or like there's like trees that grow so large that they are a hindrance to those floating islands. And
Yes.
there are a lot of super large statues that like are carved into the side of a mountain, and on top of those statues, because they are so large, people build cities on those statues. Like I personally love that kind of setting, like a world so large that like there's smaller stuff living on top of it. And it kind of is part of that fractured world trope that you mentioned.
Yeah, it kind of fits in there.
Yeah. I do remember there was a story about a Leviathan creature that lived by sea, and like they built a city on top of that Leviathan, but then the Leviathan was like, "Hey, I live in the sea. I'm gonna dive down," and everyone's like, "No, we have to control this Leviathan." And then they put the entire Leviathan under like some kind of drugs or whatever, so it doesn't never go under.
They made it hydrophobic.
No, it still lives in the ocean. It just never goes under.
Yeah, and
so
it's in a complete state of panic. It's just like, oh god!
Yeah. Help, water!
Oh, I hate this!
They sound like cats.
But I personally like this kind of setting, you know, that is like reusing, not reusing, but like instead of having just a regular city that's just, you know, an everyday city like by the river, whatever, in the forest, you have a society that tried to build a city on something, you know, in a place that is usually impossible to get to, or like people would be like, why the fuck did you build your stuff there?
Because
which is kind of
cool.
which is kind of like a floating city. Usually, like the floating city is like the city was first and then it started floating, kind of like in World of Warcraft Dalaran. I think that was a floating city, right? Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what happened to Dalaran.
Wow, this episode's going to be quite well heavy, I think.
Oh shit, I just remembered one more floating city. Then I'm done, I promise. In Chrono Trigger, you travel back and forward in time, and you go back in time, and there's like everybody's way more powerful, like technologically advanced. But then there's a floating city, and you go to the floating city, and there's like a coup that goes on, and the city drops out of the sky, and that's what causes the like age of extinction. They got so fancy-pantsy, they created an entire floating city, and then when it crashed to the ground, it like basically killed all of humanity and reset everything.
No!
So, not a floating city.
And then they called it a meteorite.
Yeah, and it killed the dinosaurs.
Oh no, were all dinosaurs killed by a floating city?
I like that.
That's some wild conspiracy theories you got going on there.
We found bones and fossils of dinosaurs, but not of a single like chip or manufactured thing. Like no.
They melt.
They've been scavenged by big floating city.
Yeah, it's still out there. Wait, then what crashed?
Wasn't there a thing like just a few years ago where someone allegedly took a photo of a floating city in a storm or something like that? I remember seeing pictures of that. Like there was like a lightning storm going on, and someone was like taking a photo, and it looked like a floating city, and people were like, the conspiracy theorists were going wild.
I remember this, but I think it was just like really good Photoshop.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? Do you think there's a floating city out there?
Okay, all right, we're done. Thank you for your fractured world, Ethel. It's a good setting. It's a good trope. All right, Kessir.
Oh, me again.
Before our break, let's do it. Before the ad break, let's do it, Kessir. What have we got?
We already had an ad break, like before Ethel started.
No. You're just hallucinating.
Okay, so we wouldn't put a third episode ad drop in here. No, not at all.
So I had to write this down because it's a little bit convoluted, and like this is how I wrote it to Chicky, because I talked to her and try to pinpoint what the fuck is in my head most of the time. So one of my favorite tropes is when a support character encounters an anticlimax in their story arc, which causes them to basically leave the main group, and then they vanish for several episodes. And like, as an audience member, you're like, okay, that character is gone. Let's forget about them. They're never showing up again.
And then they come back, but he's Gandalf the Grey this time.
White.
Whatever.
He used to be Gandalf the Grey. He's now Gandalf 1.
But then, like, the main characters, they just do their thing. They fight the final boss, and then, like, in the most crucial moment when they're about to be, I don't know, hit by the main villain or whatever, they're about to die. Suddenly, that character comes back and saves the main character's ass. And then in the next episode, we see what the fuck happened to that character in the meantime that made them have, like, an entire journey of themselves and what they went through. And if it's done really well, like, it can be extremely strong, and it makes me, most of the time, it makes me like the side characters more than the main characters.
When the sun rises, look to the west, and then they ride down the mountain.
God damn it, Neil. You're terrible. You're terrible. I know what you're talking about. I like the trope, but I hate the reality of the trope, which is climax of a battle scene or an important scene or whatever gets disrupted by a character I hadn't been thinking about, and the entire next episode is about them, and I have to wait a week until I see the finale of the fight. I genuinely hate that.
Unless the finale, like, takes place in the episodes, and then
maybe the backstory is 10 minutes and then 10 minutes finale. But, my god, I don't remember. It may have been something like Dragon Ball Z or something like that. Like when I was watching that when I was way younger, and like they do like an episode where you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And then the entire next episode is like kind of filler, just explaining where this guy came from, and you're just like, no, go back to fucking Frieza on planet Namek. You said it was gonna blow up in 20 minutes 8 episodes ago.
But the thing about those not filler episodes, but the background episodes is often that, like, they enhance the moment even more, even further, because they add something to the character's resolve, or like what led to the character coming back, or why they are, I don't know, facing the enemy in this very moment, or like if they gained a special skill that they mastered it now. Yeah, it can be done right.
It can be done right, but it also can be used as like a story bubble to like put your characters in a deadly situation later and have an excuse that they'll like to make the situation as worse as possible, and they can get out alive. Like it's no consequences.
I feel like it's very thin edge of doing it right. So like if it's done right, I love it, and if it's done horribly, I'm like, nah, I'm not.
Look to the west. Look to the east.
That's doing it well, Neil. I'll kill myself.
I like that because it does two things that I like really a lot, and one which is having side characters that aren't side characters, because a lot of like supporting characters or NPCs or whatever seem to have no story, no personality beyond a weird little quirk and an ability, and they're there to push the main character along. I like it when you get to see their story too, because nothing bugs me more when there's a show about one main character and everything else revolves around them, because I'm sorry guys, the world does not revolve around you. I mean, one person doesn't revolve around one person. Everyone has a story, and I like it when they do it. But yeah, it can lead to, we're going to kill all the characters. See how we do it. One person comes in later on like, yeah, you forgot about me, didn't you? Like, no. That's done wrong. Doing it right, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. If it feeds into the character's arc.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
What about if it's a bad guy that saves your ass and surprises you? Whoa.
And then we see a backstory of why they became good or did a good thing.
More neutral at the very least.
They should still say bad.
They just
I saved you so I could kill you myself.
They just want to keep the character for themselves. You're my
No
enemy.
one hurts you but me.
Only I get the privilege of killing you.
I'm just not ready yet. Leave and eat healthy.
The thing about that trope is, like, when I explained the trope to Chiki, for some reason I could not think of a single story that I liked where this trope happened. I know I've seen them. I just couldn't think of a single one.
I immediately sadly, because I am a sad Buffy nerd, there's an episode in season 6 of Buffy where exactly this thing kind of happens.
Oh no.
Giles goes at the beginning of the series because Buffy, spoiler alert, in series 5, as I literally just mentioned, dies. And he flies back to Britain, then she's resurrected. And then at the end of the series, he flies back because Willow has gone bad. And he's like, all right, motherfucker, let's deal with this. And then he does a little explanation at the beginning of the next episode where they have Willow contained. And he sort of talks about how he came to this point, what happened while he was in Britain, his journey of like, I said I was done, but I was wrong. Like, I still want to be here to help you. And he comes back a bit more permanently in the next series. So yeah, it's just like, when you said that, I'm like, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Well, like, when I was explaining it to Chiki, for some reason, a lot of series or like movies came to mind that had like an adjacent trope, but that focused on the character that went away. For example, Lion King.
Simba just kind of returns randomly, but the story follows Simba, not
It's still good, but like whoever. It's different from what I was thinking. And the ones that I could think of were like always kind of only adjacent to the trope as I compacted it, but like always something always felt was either off or not exactly on point. For example, like
isn't there
there were some stories that I remembered. I don't know what the stories were, but like there were some stories where like it's not just one character. Like the group has like a falling out between themselves and everyone just leaves. So like everyone is having that little mini arc for themselves. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I don't want to follow 5 different stories.
There's a minimum 5 episodes until we get back to the goddamn plot.
Yeah, and I'm like, not about that. I know that's like the trope.
Yeah.
It's just not what I want. I don't want
Didn't Full Metal Alchemist do this? It's when Edward gets lost in a snowstorm, and we follow Al for a little bit, and then he's absolutely fucking fucked by, I think, Pride. And that's when Edward pops in, saves his ass, and then we get a backstory how he was saved by the Chimeras. I'm 99% sure that may be one of the best versions of that. But that was actually the main character getting like kind of lost for 2 or 3 episodes as we followed Al.
For some reason, I'm not. You said Pride, but I'm remembering the other guy. What was it?
The kid?
Pride. Yeah, the kid.
Isn't he Pride?
Envy.
Pride is.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Pride is the lieutenant guy, the colonel.
No, that's Wrath, right? He's the angry guy.
Oh yeah, right. Wait, which one is Pride?
The kid, the baby.
Oh, right.
The son.
Yeah, no. I was talking about the other kid, the one with the long hair. That turns into a worm.
Yeah. Turns into a bad CG monster. I love Brotherhood, but that CG monster stands out like a sore thumb.
And then Timon and Pumbaa show up and they say, Hakuna Moana, and they eat the worm.
Yes! That's my favorite scene. And then we have an entire episode that's an hour and 30 minutes of Lion King.
I'm like, take us back to the Timon and Pumbaa too, please.
And then you get to watch the Timon and Pumbaa TV show, which is just a fever dream. It just makes no sense.
Because for some reason, they're using alchemy signals, and then like Edward's just like, you're not as fun as my metal brother, what the fuck? It was a wild ride, guys.
And then Simba grows a thumb and learns to snap to do this.
And then he looks to the west, and there he stands, Harry Potter.
And then he defeated Scar. Oh yeah, I remember that.
And they all have third breakfast.
Mm-hmm. So that's my favorite trope.
Yeah, you ever remembered how there's Scar in both those IPs? That can't be a coincidence. You found the connection, guys.
Yep. 100%. No, this is not
Scar is a furry.
Ads now!
Quick to the ads!
And
we're back.
Hey.
Seamless transition.
Yes.
Perfect.
So
right.
What's your second favorite trope?
I am a big fan of mentor as a surrogate parent. I love those kind of stories when, I mean, the parents can still be in the picture and they can still be happy and involved, but it's having someone, whether you're an adult or a youngster in the story, it doesn't really matter to me, but it is having that mentor that's willing to teach you things and help you and always be your ally and your support whilst training you to do something. And it's a bond that goes beyond just, I'm your teacher and there's 30 other students. I'm off to Mark. Bye-bye, child. And I'll never think about you again beyond these 4 years of school. Like, no, it is, it's someone that takes the time to look after someone else, to teach them to be better into the world, either through skill sets and through life. One of my again linked to this, one of my favorite tropes is the found family.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Now that you mention it, yeah, that should have been on my list.
I love it. I don't think I'm the sort of person that would do very well as an adoptive parent, but I love found family. I love the family that I have. They're really good. My relationship with my parents was questionable, but I still love them. But the people I found since and growing up and moving away and having my own life is like, no, your people are important to me. I don't need to put the word brother or sister or blood or any of that shit. And we never did at home. If you found someone you loved and adored, you would call them brother or sister or aunt or uncle or bestie. Like, that kind of thing means a lot to me. And I think the mentor approach is, especially in a lot of media where you end up having at least one parent who's a douchebag or parents who are useless and don't understand the special powers of the child that is being raised. It's having that extra connection there, that extra support. It is having someone who understands what you're doing and going through, saying, I'm proud of you, buddy, and I will go out on a limb and I will help you, or I will go out on a limb and I will protect you. I will do the heroic sacrifice because I am the mentor and old. I love them.
And also someone who just believes in you and who will nurture your talent and who knows you in and out and
it's the eternal cheerleader, which is something that I try and be. I try and be like, yeah, let's do it. I believe in you. We've got this. Like, come on. What do you need to do? Do you need me to slap you on the ass and say, that a boy? Because I'll do it. Do you need me to yell at you? I'll do it. Or do you need me to tell you that your work is amazing and that you should be, selling your work for millions of pounds? Let's figure out how to do that with you. It's a thing that I've seen a lot in media and something that resonates quite hard with me. And I have examples. I have many examples. Giles and Buffy, I have to mention it because I've at least said that once or twice already. From Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's Prince Zuko and Uncle Iroh.
Mm-hmm.
Zuko and Uncle Iroh weren't exactly they are family, literally are.
Yeah, but it is the I think the quote I saw was don't say it. Like the sun, I wish. Don't say it. But there's even though it could be the uncle or the way that uncles and aunts are sometimes used is it's just the best friends of your parents. They're kind of the odd exception because they are blood related, but they still have a closer relationship than just an uncle and just a nephew. He really does look after Prince Zuko and really does help mold him into a better human being than he was, who was a dickhead. And there's, and I just mentioned it, of the Empire series, there are two characters in there who aren't related to the protagonist, and the protagonist refers to them as mother of my heart and grandfather of my heart. And it's just they both nurture, they both raise, they both impart wisdom. And there's just such a really unique bond to that isn't just reliant on blood. And I like it. It's one of my, it's just one that really speaks to me and I enjoy it a lot.
The one that pops first into my head is Karate Kid. How I think his name is Mr. Miyagi, in the new version with Jaden Smith. People may not like that stuff anymore, but I love that one where the kid's I want to learn karate, but I don't have money for it, and the guy's I will train you anyway, and I just love that shit. I love that shit so hard. My brain always instantly goes to some kind of a fighting trainer or a gym trainer, and he takes in somebody who can't afford to do it for free, can't afford to pay the tuition, and they're just fuck it, I'm doing this because I love the art, or I just love the institution.
I think it also comes with the I spot talent in you. This gift will go to waste if I don't help.
The dream of
even though I should be charging you so much money to learn how to do this thing, the talent would be wasted if I didn't step up and do something. And again, that's a very familial parental thing to do.
The dream of every young man to be picked out by a master and go, I see promise in you. It's like, please save me from my droll, dreadful existence.
The whole time I was trying to think of an example. And the only thing I could think of, and it kept coming up, was Kung Fu Panda, but it wasn't those tropes. It doesn't apply at all.
No,
he has
the
like
goose
the
just loves him.
adoptive parent, but like they have a good relationship and everything, and like
no,
it's not even any of those things.
The rat character hates Panda Guy, and the turtle just loves everybody. Like,
yeah,
he's just chill.
I've heard that the newer, I don't know when they came out. Like, I've seen the first one for sure, but I've heard that the Kung Fu Panda movies are actually really good.
The second one has the tiger guy, and
I think I have seen that one then. But
that one is just shockingly well animated. I have no memory of the story or the plot. I just remember the animation being like, mwah, just great.
So yeah, I like that trope. I don't like it when people do the weird thing with the villains, when the villains has someone they've taken on as a child, and then the child is like, I have now seen the error of my ways after you have taken me in and looked after me. I would join the good guys. I'm like, no, I hate that. I hate that so much. They did that at the end of Charmed, and I got so fucking mad. So no way. I hate it. So don't do that.
Wait, villain, Charmed. Fuck. Oh, you threw me off. I had something.
One thing I like, since we're talking about Kung Fu Panda, one thing I like in the found family trope. Okay. No, you don't have to cut that.
We saved it. Thank you, Kesir.
Yay! It's like if the found family transcends basically the quote unquote wraith.
I don't think Kung Fu Panda is a found family story though. He has a real family that he cares about. His dad's really nice. I just that's great.
I'm just trying to bounce off of something you mentioned. Like since we have like a lot of these stories that feature non-human characters, and I do like found family if it's like between races that don't actually like biologically could never be family,
yeah, like
quote
a
unquote.
goose and a panda.
yeah, for example. But like one thing I also like is like if it's not just the child and mentor situation, but like a brother sister situation. And like or like sibling, let's call it sibling situation, which I've seen. I don't have an example of this, but like I've seen some of like small character and large character calling each other brothers and sisters or like siblings. Like for example, a small girl and a large dragon.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. Not that kind of like I literally mean different types of character races.
Yeah.
Or if it's like I don't know, like I guess a child and a dinosaur, and they bond so well that they call each other siblings. If they're sentient enough for whatever the storytelling is, that they can actually talk to each other like that.
Mowgli.
Yeah, Mowgli does call Uncle Baloo, the bear is just his cousin. Like, fuck yeah. Or uncle. I have to, because we're talking about this, I have to mention the worst whiplash I've ever had to the mentor trainee thing. In the newest series of Samurai Jack that came out like 2020, I think it was. Halfway through the series, there's a bad character that turns good, and Jack's like training them. And Jack's like this older man, and she's this younger woman. I'm like, oh, are they going for like a mentor thing? Like he's gonna like pass on the weapon to her, and she's gonna be the one who beats the big bad evil guy. I'm into that. Like I like this. And then they started kissing, like genuinely, as I was thinking that, and I was just like, no, that's not what I wanted.
No,
don't touch her like that, you old man. It was genuinely, I was in the middle of like constructing a new side story, like, oh, is this how the show's gonna go? And then it just started fucking smacking lips, and I was disgusted. It was disgusting behavior.
No PDA.
that's that, I guess. All right, Neil, what have you got in your second spot?
Sympathetic villains. You love to be able to reason with them and understand their logic. Magneto, fantastic.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't even want that man to lose. You just want him to get better.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all.
Magneto did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's funny. They're both. It's like he's a good guy with a different solution, and that whole thing is such a great dynamic.
Oh,
Ooh. So that leads us back to anti-hero, anti-villain, hero and anti-hero.
Yeah,
we were actually talking about this recently in one of our Patreon chats for August, our AMA chats. Go check that out on our Patreon. Plug.
Plug.
Yeah, we talked about that. I love sympathetic villains. I love looking at the villain and go, oh, I would probably be on your side.
Yeah, but that's because you're a coward.
Killing people.
You're a coward, V. You would never sacrifice yourself for the greater good. You'd always follow the villain.
It's like, I know at the
true.
ending of this, I want you to lose, but I don't want you to be hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, protect the baby.
What is it? It's
send them to jail, please.
In Breaking Bad, like you follow Walter White's story, and it's different for everybody. Where they went like, wait a minute, you're doing bad evil things.
The baddies.
A more weedy comparison is Death Note. You have a character whose original goal seems relatively pure, if simplistic, but then as he like structures and builds on his goal, he just starts doing more and more evil shit. And it's really funny to talk to people and ask them like, when do you think he went over the line? And, like everybody will have a different answer. It's fantastic when you have a good guy that turns evil. So he has like a goal that you could have rooted for originally, but then they just go off the deep end.
That is a good story.
Yeah. Oh, Death Note or whatever
Note.
Other thing I said. Breaking Bad.
Oh, I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I know all about it, of course, at this point. But
bro, you need to watch it. It's genuinely
cultural osmosis.
I know.
Everything except the second season.
Really? Okay.
I was gonna say everything except the fourth season.
No, you're crazy, V.
The fourth lost me. I'm like, nah, bro.
So, Aethor, is your suggestion watch the first season, the third season, and the fourth season?
No, just understand the second season is not as good as the first or the third. Like, just know that.
I'm going to be honest, though. Like, the thing that broke TV for me and things like this, and the reason why I haven't watched is Game of Thrones. Like, how am I supposed to sink time into anything ever again before it ends? How am I supposed to know? It was so worth the ride. But, the ending made the whole ride not worth the ride. The whole ride was good up until the ending of the ride made the whole ride shit. And I don't know how it does that so spectacularly. But I'll
tell you an analogy only a fat man can give you. It's like eating a meal, and it's a really good meal. And then you say, I want to thank the chef. And out walks this like dirty man, like drool and like boogers in his beard, and he spits on the ground as he walks out, rubs his hand through his hair, then his hands together, and then shakes your head. You're like, I need to throw up now. This is a terrible meal. That's what they did to us, Neil.
It was awful. It was awful,
Game of Thrones
and I have not recovered.
Game of Thrones may probably be the best, like, sympathetic villain story in the fucking world up to, like, season 6, 7. Like, you're rooting for, like, almost everybody except Littlefinger at all times. Like, even Cersei has points at times. Like, you're not, like season 2, you're not, like, murder Cersei. You're like, oh, shit, like, what's gonna happen to
Shame.
her? Maybe she's gonna fix her ways. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, I think the difference with Game of Thrones is that everyone is a hero, everyone is a villain, and they're all heroes and villains of their own story. They're literally all written from their own points of view. And I like it. I like that because of that. But the TV show, what lost me was the fucking white horse and Arya Stark. I was laughing so hard when we were watching that with the guys around. I'm like, I can't believe this shit.
The what?
Yeah, like, you're right, Neil. It fell off the deep end, and it was bad.
She fell off late. After Daenerys has basically decided genocide's cool. Arya's running through the streets, and at the end of the episode, a white horse appears, and she rides it away. And that white horse was not set up. You have no idea where that white horse came from, and it's shot so cinematic that you're sitting there like, "What's the symbolism?" This
is supposed to mean something.
Nothing made sense. The
this
whole
has
thing was
to mean something.
none
Like,
of it.
is this like the no one priest like changed his face and turned into a horse instead? Like, is that the only reason that this horse could be here?
God, and Arya had the best story up until that point.
Yeah.
The best fucking story. I was so scared for Arya the whole time. Arya was my favorite for the whole ride, and then and then what was the point of it?
And then she takes stupid pills and forgets the power to change his faces. You know, the most important power.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what would have made sense
There's
is
a
to have
million things
the
we could
dude
complain about.
in the wheelchair and then like, haha,
Bran.
I'm not Bran.
Yeah.
Or just stab him as Bran and then rip Bran's face off. I think Bran would have to be dead to do that, but like...
that was never established. We don't know if people needed to be dead for you to do it.
Prince Oberyn should have won. It was a bad move. I liked Prince Oberyn.
What's the name of the guy?
I'm suddenly glad I never watched the last season.
Yeah, be glad, mate.
What was the name of the guy with the stone scales that like goes on an entire
Prince Jorah.
it goes on an entire journey of self-discovery and reevaluation, and then just dies?
He dies.
It's just like, what was the fucking point of that?
He goes on a journey of self-discovery and ends up exactly back where he was. Learned nothing and then dies. The worst.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
And Jamie, fuck you, Jamie.
Yes!
Man, Jamie was the most unlikable character at the beginning who had a complete turnaround and made me feel bad for him. And I was like, damn, Jamie's a good guy. His sister just sucks, though, and he needs to stay the fuck away from her. And when they're separated, Jamie's becoming a good person, and Cersei's just becoming more of a fucking bitch, and you hate her. And then they, in the fucking end, and then Jamie, and it's like, man, why? Jamie, why? Man, why?
I hated it.
You could have been a good guy, man.
Fuck
I saw it for a fucking second.
We saw.
For a fucking
And
second,
that leads,
Jamie.
I will come back to remind me about this, but
Makes me
there is
so
like
mad.
the spark of like redemption in Jamie
There is.
throughout those last series where he's hanging around with Brianna Tarth. I think I'm not a fan of the Brianna Tarth potential love line. No, fuck that. I don't give a shit about that. That spark of humanity that is still in him to be a good person.
That was so
just
good.
wiped out at the
And then for what the fuck? That was
it.
disappointing. I was disappointed with a lot, but
Remember how he was set up to be somebody who would dethrone an insane ruler when they go against the will of the
Right.
people?
Oh, my
Remember when he
God.
was set up for that? Remember when he did that? He fucked the crazies. That's what he did with his life.
He's been fucking crazy
Why
since
can't you remember like
episode
the
1.
North remembers?
Tyrion's so good, though. I love Tyrion.
All right, we need to get off. We need to get off Game of
We
Thrones.
need to get back to where we were. Yeah. Oh man.
Neil was doing some.
How about
villains.
another ad break?
Jesus Christ, save us ads.
And it's an ad about like a new Game of Thrones audiobook or whatever.
Yeah. The board game.
Spoilers for Game of Thrones. It's bad.
The Game of Thrones board games, they had some stipulation in the contract that anytime they used the phrase Game of Thrones, they needed to use the full title of the show, The Game of Thrones.
The Game of Thrones.
So in the rule book, every time it was talking about the board game, it had to say, in a game of the Game of Thrones. It always had to have two
TM.
if it was talking about the game. In the
Did they
Game
have
of
a
Thrones
TM
board
on
game,
it?
it always had TM at the end.
Yeah, then you need to use the entire phrase.
Yeah. So
that's necessary.
To lose a game of the Game of Thrones.
It's such bad English.
Terrible.
Future me, I don't know if we actually put an ad in at that point, but either way, what a beautiful transition to Aethel.
Oh, me again.
What's in your top spot?
Right.
You again.
I am going to not do my honorable mentions yet, because I might accidentally have somebody's top. My favorite one is, this is a dumb trope, but Jesus Christ do I love it. The main theme plays during the final fight.
I actually saw that when I was looking up my trope. That popped up. I was like, oh yeah, that does happen.
I love it.
Do you have any idea how long I need the combat music to be, Aethor?
I'm not talking about the entire thing.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He wants the entire thing.
No, all we need is that at either the final blow part or at like a really stumper part. If like Laffy and Sultana, Squash, or Raul goes down, that's when we need to have that, and the team like grows.
When they go down, we need to have on a
like,
piano, just under their death. Like,
I'm telling you, Neil. I'm telling you.
I think this is Aethel's subtle way of asking you to do that.
I will not be asking in 5 years when we're editing the finale.
Though I feel like I personally, as a listener, feel like that has been done before. That you did like the intro theme like in the middle of the episode, and as a listener, I always feel like, is this someone making a summary, because that's like the music that plays under V doing the summary of what happened in the last episode. It always feels like, oh, we're about to witness a summary.
No, in my brain, if I hear the intro song, it's pump up time. I'm pretty sure they did it in the One Punch Man finale of the first season. They do something kind of similar in Full Metal Alchemist in the fight with Father. They have like one of the songs that's been playing like as a theme for the main character, but they pump it all up and get it like real fucking excited. I love it when the intro gets played as a theme in a fight. Gets me every time. That's just my favorite thing. You can't go wrong. Just oof.
They do that in episode 12, season 1 of Buffy.
See, all the good ones did it. All the great ones did it.
This is turning into a drinking game. Every time V mentions Buffy, take a drink.
I think you'd be good. You'd be well sauced by the end of this one.
Yeah, you would not be trash. Mildly sauced. No,
depends on what you get.
TV shows do it a lot, where they have the intro.
Yeah.
Anime doesn't do it as much, but goddammit. Oh, Tengen Top and Gurren Lagann does that, like hardcore in the first season, when they fight the big guy that was keeping the surface of Earth uninhabitable. That's fucking great. It's just...
I am going to need you to type the name of what you said, because A, I don't think I heard it correctly, and B, I don't know what you said.
All right, let me... No problem. So, yeah, my thing, it's super simple, but gosh darn it. I have much more to say about my honorable mentions, but that is genuinely my favorite. I love it when you play the main theme.
It's simple.
Yeah.
There's not much to discuss.
Ooh, it's just that perfect. And no bummers, so nobody's allowed to say I'm wrong.
No bummers. But it does do a good, like, if you have been building up long enough and you hear those familiar themes, and I think it works better if it's not a straight up one-to-one copy of it. Like, you can recognize that beat, you can recognize that melody, you can recognize that sharp note drop at those right times. I think it could be, like, it's a good callback, and it's like they did it! They said it! They did the title drop!
Nope, no bummers. Sorry, I was about to be negative.
No, I think title drops are fine. Fight me, Aethel.
Oh, you want to fight? Title drops are terrible 90% of the time. Period.
I think it has to be super subtly worked in, like an Easter egg, and it has to make sense. So us working in the lucky die is just like, nah.
I stand by.
Let's not do that.
That would be the worst thing to do, but it would be a great one to end on. Now we have to rebuild
the final
world.
Words.
I guess the lucky die, and then we just that's the end of the story.
But that's bad English. It should be the lucky died, because they're no longer there. Or...
No. I guess the lucky get.
If it's at the end of the world.
I guess the lucky get to die. Like, is the like more verbose.
I guess only
still
the lucky die.
Still different grammar.
Yeah, we're not doing that. I promise you, I will not be that bad, but I do think pretty bad plan. Yeah. All right, Cassian, what have you got?
Oh no, it's me again.
It's you again.
Okay, let's see. It's another one I had to write down. So it's my. I did not have a proper order for this, so don't hold me to it that this is my number one favorite trope. But it's like when the heroes start out with like with goals and ambitions and determination, and then the story or plot breaks them down, breaks them completely apart in all the right ways. That in the end they're just happy to get out of the story alive, or like mostly unharmed. They achieved nothing, but they're just happy they got out of the story at all.
It's always fantastic when a character has like a goal of glory, riches, and power.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the thing, they're like, you know what? I'm just glad we came out of this alive and we stopped that bad guy from doing that bad thing. And it doesn't even have to be like a end of the world kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, it was an evil real estater who was gonna like demolish a suburban neighborhood that had a lot of culture. It's like, and we stopped him. And I'm just like, yeah, you learned a lesson, buddy. There's more important things out there.
Yeah. Or like it humbles the character that went out with like all those like that went out into the world starry-eyed and bushy-tailed or whatever.
Yeah.
And like they came back being like, guys, I'm just happy I'm still here.
See, that's kind of the opposite of the a trope I kind of enjoy, which is the main character returns home and he's just like, oh, I don't fit in anymore.
Celebrated a hero.
No, he doesn't fit in anymore. He doesn't know how to be normal.
Okay.
Like he comes home and he's just like, I can't just go to the grocery store anymore. Like I have to like scrounge for my food and like I can't just.
That's one you like?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just kind of like it when the hero returns kind of like changed. Like
I always feel like that kind of storyline happens a lot if there's like a second book or a second season or a second movie. It's always that kind of trope, but in the beginning, like the character came back and they did not fit in, and they're dealing with that.
No,
and I hate that one.
No, if you start the second season with that, go fuck yourself. If you end the first season with that, 2 thumbs up. Like.
If you have the balls enough to show the after, because a lot of shows like, here's the high point, and then we never see them have the happy ending. We never actually see them getting the romance on. We never actually see them returning to their village.
No, like, drive off into the sunset.
It's always hinted that this will be, drive off into the sunset, the happily ever after. If you have the ability and the balls enough to go, all right, let's look what it's like to actually return home, because it's not all going to be sunshine and daisies, but that does lack a nice rounded ending. It does lack that nice, yay, unless, of course, they return to the village and everything is fine. Or you have at least one set or one character that returns home or to a new normality and things are good. Because I guess it also depends on the tone of the show. Is like, if your entire show has always been dour and sad, then show them returning back and still things aren't good, even though they've done the good thing. But if your show has notes of happiness and hope in it, show the sad, shitty one, but also like contrast it with the happy one too. You never see beyond the happy ever after.
Now imagine, V. Imagine that you went on a big, big adventure and everything went surprisingly well. You were a bit pessimistic, but everything's fine afterwards. And you have this really cool thing, a really cool ring. And
I was just gonna say, imagine the Eagles came in or whatever.
It's like a fucking Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Piece of shit.
It is.
And then it's the prequel to 3 great movies.
Yeah, exactly. Except don't watch the movies, just read the book.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
read the books.
It's shorter.
The Hobbit's a
saves you a lot of time.
The humbling of the hero or like of some of the characters is like a super good through line to have in your story, because it's also, it gives your character like a dynamic. Like your character isn't just this straight arrow moving from goal A to goal B, and maybe somewhere along the way he'll move to goal C or D. Like, no, it's like, they started out going for goal A to B and they ended up on goal like 1. Like it's not even in the same fucking system that they ended up in, and it gives your character like width and dynamics that like they aren't just a final product. They are still forming.
Yeah. I think it's good when characters change and grow. Because, I don't know, if I look over my life over the last 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, I've changed. People change. People grow up. What you thought you were steadfast rules of like, I would never do that, go into, you know what, compromise is okay. You know what, there are bigger things to give a fuck about. I feast my eyes upon my field of fucks and there's only so many to give. Yeah, like...
Yeah. I think I personally am not a fan of the hero comes back and is like celebrated by everyone. It kind of feels unrealistic.
Yeah, because like if it is like, for example, like talking fantasy, they go off and fight this big epic battle 4,000 miles away. Mm-hmm. They come back to, you know, bumfuck nowhere. They're not going to know of what happened. They're not going to treat you any different except some dickhead who didn't pay his rent for the last 4 months. Like,
you're literally quoting the end of The Hobbit.
I know, and then you have this crazy uncle with a bunch of artifacts and stories. And
well, that means that V is not an AI because she can quote the end of The Hobbit.
True. No, we had to trick her into it. It was a really roundabout way to get her to it.
V is an AI because she can quote the end of The Hobbit. Guys.
No, the
I personally also feel like putting it in instead of being the hero that is celebrated, being like the hero that comes home and it's like it normalizes the situation a little bit more. It gives you more of a sense of this could be me, basically. Mm-hmm. It makes it more relatable for a normal audience, because if you have like a character that is like super celebrated or whatever, then like a lot of people are gonna be like, well, that's never going to be me. Mm-hmm. You know, they cannot put themselves into those shoes, and like humbling is a lot of like it makes them more relatable, the characters.
Yeah, I agree there, like 100%.
Yeah, I think I don't think I can think of a single story where the character comes home and is like celebrated, where I was just like, yeah, that was earned. Yeah, that's the thing that should have happened. Like, I think it's always like when they're celebrated, you're just like, how do they know? Who told them? Why are they celebrating? Like,
I mean, I guess if they somehow ended up in a large city, and the large city is like, okay, you're going out there, like, I don't know if you need help.
But like imagine like a Iron Man movie where Iron Man shoots the bad guy a bunch.
Don't fucking watch Iron Man.
And then he lands and everybody's like, yay! Like, no, nobody's gonna go yay. Two crazy people were shooting at each other, and now one of them's dead. You're not celebrating the other.
And half the city is dead.
Yeah, like
destroyed.
Yeah.
The idea that you get celebrated by a city requires so much setup of like, there needs to be a news cycle that explained your situation and the bad guy situation, and that you were planning, and then you succeeded, and now we can all celebrate. It's like Superman. Like he throws something into the sun, and everybody's celebrating, and it's just like, what do you guys think just happened? Like,
actually, that reminds me of the Dragon Ball one that was like, oh, people around the world give me energy.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do they know?
Who are you? Bulma puts it on TV.
Are you saying that when you save space, you can't go have a party with the Ewoks and all of your ghost friends?
Yes.
I always save space when I delete my photos. No one celebrates me.
Damn you, Kit. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, V, I think it's your turn.
Yep, we have 15 minutes left.
Yep, you can tell us about what your favorite trope from Buffy is.
I fucking hate you. So, I have the bad guy redemption arc. And I have it as my trope for a fair amount of reasons. Because I think that to a degree, some people, and most people, deserve a second chance. You swore in church, probably shouldn't hunt you down and burn you as a witch. Redemption. It's a thing. People should look into it. And we all love a good redemption story. And I think we could stand to learn a bit from the idea of forgiveness and helping people get better. I love backstories of doing super bad shit and then trying to make it up, or just trying to be better. I have edgelord characters that are all basically like that, and I love the shit out of all of them. It's fun to play. I like to try to do better. I like to carry guilt. It's nice. I like to think that it raises a lot of questions. Like, at what point can you forgive them? At what point do they earn redemption? Is it based on body count? Like, what's the number in the body count? Mm-hmm. Like, if they are a vampire and they suddenly get a soul, how many murders is okay before you can't forgive them? Is it based on the show type? Like, is it supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be dark and depressing? Is it based on personality? Are they just fun and you love the bad guy? And you know what? I'll forgive him a couple of murders or a couple of arson attacks. Like, whatever. Like, he's a thief. Like, fuck it. I don't care.
Kawaii murders, Chan.
Is
murder again.
Gollum a bad guy?
Exactly. And like,
Gollum wasn't a bad...
the idea of like...
Wait, Gollum.
Oh, Gollum. Okay.
Yeah, Gollum. Like, and at what point do you as a person or the show or the characters in the show go, this is the point where they can be redeemed and this is the point where they can't be redeemed? Like, where's the line? Where's the line? And like, if it involves like death and murder, like, can you make that right? Is it about saving as many people as possible? Is it like, if I save 40 people after accidentally murdering one person, is that okay? I don't know. Is saving the world okay for killing one person? I don't know. Where's the line? So I like them like that. And my example is Angel from Buffy and Spike from Buffy.
Oh, what? I'm so surprised.
Because they're both bad guys.
Yeah.
So they are both vampires. They both have like committed murders. They've turned people into vampires. They have a bunch of fucked up crimes between them. And one of them is forced to have a soul. And apparently we're told that's enough to earn redemption. And the other one earns a soul. So is one being forced to be a better person actually redeemable, or is the person who literally goes out and risks everything and undeath death to get a soul to be a better person? And is having a soul enough? I don't know.
Is it worth it?
Exactly. Is it worth it? Does it actually do anything? Does that just confer, the angel on your shoulder telling you to be a better person? I don't know. I just like them. And, I like playing them. I like playing characters with, heavy guilty backgrounds. I have a lot of fun with them. And the only other one, I guess, is Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender. He's a bit of a dickhead. Did some dickhead stuff. And now he's on the bad good guy list. I don't know. He's still a dickhead.
So I had on my honorable mentions, I had, what was the phrasing I used? The first villain of this arc turns into a good guy. First antagonist turns into a good guy. I have such a love-hate relationship with that one, because it requires the main character to be so annoyingly good that they can forgive the first antagonist. And I'm such a petty bitch. I would never forgive the first antagonist. But also the first antagonist very often in shows, not on Buffy though, they're often like this kind of pencil pusher. They're like this character that was just kind of like told to do this. They're not evil. They're just doing a job. Like Zuko, not really, but like to Zuko, it was a job. Like he didn't care about capturing the Avatar. He wanted to recover his honor. And it's in Dragon Ball. They do this so much. In the original series, you have Yamcha and Pilaf. You have in the second season, you have Vegeta, which becomes like one of the main characters. He was like a bad guy that like murdered millions. And then he gets his ass whooped and he's like, humility, I don't like it.
I think they even have that in My Little Pony. There's the one called the Spirit of Discord or whatever the fuck it is. That's voiced by John Delancey.
Yeah.
Becomes a good guy.
Yeah, that apparently happens.
Like, I don't need them to become a good guy. I just like the redemption arc. Like, they can do the taking the bullet thing. They can be like, do you know what? I'm trying to redeem myself. I'm trying to be a better person. They don't have to really be good. They can still be assholes the entire way through. And they can be like, for this one thing, this is my line. Actually, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to walk away. Or they get killed in like whatever battle, like whatever. I like redemption arcs. I think they're interesting. I think they're fun. And I like playing them. So please give me people that need to be redeemed.
We've had sorry, Chrissy, go ahead.
When you mentioned like the first villain of the series, like for some reason my mind wandered and to a thought I had about a lot of anime series that always start like when they have like this when they're like shonen based or whatever, like where the goal is like to power up the main character to make them stronger and stronger. The first villain often ends up as a bully or a joke, basically, and you can always feel that in the series. Like they are quote unquote dire to the situation in that arc, but like as the story progresses and you experience more and more actual villains with like with a lot of more sinister plots or whatever, then you're like, oh, that first one was more of a joke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
And I kind of got reminded of Shaman King, which kind of had that kind of thing going on.
Oh, I never watched
where
that.
but one of the main villain, like the first villain was, I think his name was Ryu, and he was like this rockabilly guy, like with a big hair and stuff. And like he was the villain of the first book or whatever, or like episode. And like at some point he had like a redemption arc, and he started being a shaman, and like he became like one of the fan favorites actually because of the arc he had. Like, but he started out as a 100% as a bully.
Yeah, but he ended up as part of the main team, or like a very B side character. That's very much Yamcha from Dragon Ball. He starts off as like a super evil villain who's like trying to gather the Dragon Balls to wish for some kind of immortality wish. And by the end of like Dragon Ball Z, he's just like, oh yeah, that's Yamcha. He dies a lot. He's just shit.
I mean, heroes becoming villains is exactly what happens to Spike. He is an actual villain. He is actually a dickhead. But the audience loved him so much, they brought him back, and he continued to be a villain. Even when he was a good guy, he wasn't a good guy. And at the end, he saves the fucking world. Not Buffy. Fuck Buffy and all those other people doing fighty things down the hole of demons. It's Spike that saves the world. It's great.
It was always Spike. It was always about Spike.
It's always Spike. It's always about Spike, which is really hard because I think the writers of the show were like, we don't know what to do with him. He shouldn't be in the show. He makes no sense. He should be murdered. And I love the fact that every time that Xander interacts with Spike, Xander's always like, we should be killing him. He is a vampire.
I'm calling it right now.
He's a very consistent character.
I'm calling it right now. The receptionist saves the world in TLD.
Oh, Trampower? Yeah, 100%. No, but he's annoying.
No,
not a
it's going to be the triangle gnome.
comes out of the corner and triangles and heals Sultana just before she was about to die.
It's like the equivalent of like a bunch of people trying to open a can of pickles, like, and no one can do it, and the last person opened it. Like, this was easy.
What is wrong with you guys?
The triangle guy comes in, like, ding, saves the world, done.
And then like the jar opens, the world is saved.
Yeah.
But like, Tracking TLD, we have that in a lot of characters that we interact with. Like, we have Emil, who is a lich and has murdered many people, but trying to be a part of the good guys. We have Demi, who has murdered a bunch of people. Yes, she feels bad about it. She is trying to seek redemption, and I love that storyline. And we have Lindgren, who is an absolute asshole, but he actually has a line in the sand, and his line in the sand is one crime. His line in the sand is super simple versus everyone else's. He doesn't have this moral quandary of like, this was a bad person, but they're trying to do good. No, his line in the sand is, you committed a crime? Fuck you.
You're a criminal now.
So I think Lindgren is going to be the true superhero at the end of the series.
Can you imagine the ending in which the triangle bard saves the world, and then every year we all stand outside and do triangles for like an hour, and it's the most obnoxious thing.
Oh God! You know this needs more triangle.
I just like the idea that Lindgren stands there, the Blissful Eclipse comes in, and he's just like, I'm pretty sure they don't have a permit for this. Picks up his axe. No, picks up his fist. Lindgren's like, what's the phrase you always use?
He's buff.
He's stacked like a shit
He's like
house.
buff as fuck. He's stacked, yeah. Like,
he's Gaston, but elf.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
tiny waist, big shoulders.
No. But the redemption thing, me and we've had like extensive conversations about it, and I think I found like my dumb like line where I like to follow, which is very simple. If you murdered somebody and they had a loved one, they are allowed to murder you. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how much you regret it or how much you were under the influence of drugs or being blackmailed. You chose to murder instead of killing yourself. So. You're out of...
Unless you were mind controlled.
Okay, mind control is literally the only exception. Like...
and
or
then
it was an
we kill the
accident.
person responsible for that.
Accidents aren't
but
murders.
That's like that dark back, like, guilt thing I was chatting about. Like, I love playing characters. Like, they could have been, like, tricked into doing the bad thing. They've been but they would still carry that guilt because they still did it, even though they didn't do it. It wasn't their fault. Like, I love that. I love that shit so much.
Yeah.
So you say accidents aren't murder, but that's literally what Laffian was basically locked up for. Like, if you spin it correctly, it can be portrayed as a murder.
But we're talking about like in a fantasy world where we know what is a murder and what is an accident. Like, that's where I draw the line. Like, if literally any character from Squash's backstory came back from Squash's like Swiftneblin backstory came back and we're like, you came to our village, you stole all our food, and my family like starved to death, prepared to die. Squash would just put up his hands and like, can I finish this blissful eclipse thing and then you can murder me, please? Like, with Raoul and Fulcrum, like, in my mind, and again, this is not Squash or Gref or anything like that. This is just Aether trying to sort through his ideas of redemption and forgiveness. It is literally up to Raoul. Like, if Raoul came up to Fulcrum and goes, I am going to kill you now, Squash would be like,
there was that initial like wish of kind of like death,
violence.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, I think a lot of context revealed itself.
Yeah.
And now he's reacting to that.
And that's up to...
Bogrim is another wonderful example of bad guy redemption arc.
We
I love
can't
him.
keep any of this in.
I know.
We can talk about Bogrim because that is already out there.
You could cut this entire thing.
So yeah, that's my one of my favorite tropes. Neil, round us out, bud. What have you got?
Yeah, I was gonna do just a more broad version of yours. Basically, yours is a bit more specified, but just the antagonist turned ally. You know, the whole thing is fun because I love like all my characters feature some sort of like trust game. I love just kind of context around characters in detail because like trust is a spectrum, as y'all were kind of getting into, you know.
Yeah.
And it's based on a lot of things that you learn about characters that should make them interesting. So I feel like that just in general is a cool window for character depth. But
100%.
Instead, we can talk about opposites attract. Two people that work well together that are completely opposite. It's fun.
It is fun. It is extremely fun.
Like actually talking about like opposites attract and working well together. There's a real world example of that, not just from media. It's Adam and Jamie from Mythbusters. They could not stand each other's working practices at all. Like they have very different ways of approaching things. One's very methodical. One is very much like, I'll give it a shot, spaghetti against the wall approach. And they just couldn't. They were very, very different in the way that they did everything and the way that they spoke and the way that they moved. And literally everything about them is like, you would never in a million years pair these two together to make a show. Like they're just so vastly different. But because they have an underlying professionalism and respect for each other's end result, if not their process, they managed to make things that worked. And it was, they talked a lot about this, is like, it is the result that matters. It's not whose idea. So yeah, like, I
didn't know that about those two.
Yeah, they, apparently they only had one dinner together.
Arya and the Hound.
Yeah,
that was good. They were so good together. They're so alike, but so different. It's great.
I mean, that was one of the tropes that made me start out on Counterbalance.
Yeah.
So that tracks.
True.
The three of them are all very different. They're very opposites. Somehow they make a triangle of opposites.
Yeah, but like in the beginning, like the initial idea was just Raka and Malaki. Like Lynn came in later because I was like, I need a third character to kind of glue these together while they're working things out.
Yep. Okay, that's funny. Yeah, the opposite attracts is like a fun one. I don't know, like I feel like it's often used so like dumbly that I think I have mostly a negative like image in my head, but like when we're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, no, that's really, really fun when it's done well. Like, yeah, I like these ideas. What you're talking about is fun, but it's so often I feel like it's used like there's a manic scientist and then there's the calm scientist, and together they get everything done. And it's just such a boring dynamic. It's like, oh, of course the manic one writes up all the cool formulas, and then the calm one cleans them up and makes them actually functional. It's like,
I have another example for you to bring back Full Metal Alchemist. The teacher person, I think Itsumi. I don't remember her name.
Yep.
And her husband.
Yeah, they're fucking great together. But they're funny.
Oh yeah, sorry, I just got who you're chatting about.
But they're funny in a weird way, like
who's also a teacher. Hey,
yay!
Hey.
Yeah. No, I think like you do opposites well. You got some good stuff. Just like don't be lazy. Don't rest on your laurels. If you're writing a story out there, put some fucking effort in. Don't just copy what Marvel does. Just do your own thing and put some goddamn effort in.
I feel like a lot of times when there's like opposite characters, it's usually like rivalry characters, and like they work well together in specific scenarios, but they are very rarely put in those scenarios, like because they're on different teams and they're not on the same team basically, so they don't have a lot of screen time together, I guess. which is a lot of time how these things happen.
Yeah.
Like and I don't personally like those too much. I mean, they feel strong if you're into the series, I guess. But it's not like the entire flesh of the series is not based on that, I guess. I'm thinking for some reason Pokemon popped into my head, and I think like there were episodes where like Ash was teaming up with one member of Team Rocket and like something like that, and like they kind of worked well together, but it's like it's this kind of trope where it's like, yeah, they're only working together for right now.
Yeah.
And after we're done with this, we're gonna be back to enemies.
Oh, that's a fantastic
I also love
trope.
that as a trope. I also love that so much.
There's something so fantastic when like a bigger, badder, eviler threat that's also really dumb presents itself, and the two antagonists and protagonists are like, we're gonna have to work to deal with this stupid thing, aren't we? Like, this is not gonna solve itself, is it? Like,
there's an episode of Buffy. I'll stop. Sorry, I'll stop.
There's also an episode in Full Metal Alchemist again with Envy.
Oh,
and Edward ending up. What the fuck were they trapped in?
They were stuck inside of Gluttony, the false gate.
Oh right,
it's Envy, Edward, and Lynn or Lee.
Yeah. Neil, is there a version in Lord of the Rings? We've hit all the fan bases so far.
No, there's no point where Frodo and Sauron work together.
But in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's true.
No, the dwarves and the elves are bickering.
Yeah, that's good.
That's about it. They have that dynamic. And they become
I guess
friends.
Legolas
they become more friends than enemies,
guy.
but keep on bickering, and it kind of becomes a funny banter later.
It's really good banter.
But yeah.
What fan bases have we not ticked yet?
Twilight.
We don't count Twilight.
Oh, no.
Have they been absorbed by
ostracized?
They've been absorbed by a new worse fan base somewhere.
Like Vampire Diaries or some shit. I don't know.
50 Shades of Grey.
Thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what's it called? The one where he's a werewolf.
My Immortal.
Like... playing basketball. Oh, whatever.
Wait, what werewolves play
Teen
basketball?
Wolf?
Yeah, Teen Wolf. Yeah. The Twilight people got absorbed by Teen Wolf fan bases.
I'm not sorry to any of those fan bases. I'm really not. Okay.
That's what you fucking
What the fuck has happened?
All right. Let's very quickly smash out our honorable mentions.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Aethel, you started this train wreck.
Okay. Really like the trope that the protagonist is a threat because they're an unknown to the bad guy. So the bad guy had a foolproof plan, but then the protagonist comes in with some amount of knowledge, power, or something that the bad guy wasn't ready for, and that's why they're a threat. It's not because the bad guy underestimated them, it's because he didn't even know they fucking existed. I love that trope.
They were not in my calculations.
Yeah, I love it when the bad guy's like, I've got everything figured out, I have so much power, I have these monsters that are immune to all the bullets, and then some guy comes in shooting lightnings, and he's like, fuck.
I did not account for this.
What do you mean he can fly? Like, why can't he fly? Like, I love that.
I'm sorry, what?
I love that trope. It's genuinely because it feels like it earns the protagonist his seat as a threat to the bad guy. I really like, even though I hate it, I really do like unwavering honor in the good guy. When the good guy's just like bad evil guy
For honor.
like bad evil guy is like, oh, I'm sorry I murdered 5,000 people, I'm sorry, and the good guy's like, well, if you say you're sorry, I trust you, and then he turns his back on him. Like, it's so dumb, but I love it. I love the fact that Doctor Who never kills. He doesn't like guns. He never picks up a gun. It's so dumb, but I love it. I love it when you have a good guy who's just unwaveringly honorable. Just
All right. I will correct you on Doctor Who. Doctor Who is a dickhead.
You're like talking about the time where he banished the 4 family members to different edges of the universe. That episode was written by an idiot.
Sticks them. Yeah, but it sticks this person in a mirror for the entirety of like time and space. That is a dickhead move.
And it was
like he may never kill, but he's still going down in prison in Lindgren's books. Fuck him.
That's Batman level of stupid. It's because there are many writers touching the same character. Batman never kills anybody. Yeah, but he's like broken millions of backs. He's worse than a murderer at this point. And the same with Doctor Who. Like, if you ignore the writers that are like, ooh, I'm gonna make the Doctor edgy, it's like, no, fuck off, stop that. Don't put people in a black hole where they get to suffer for billions of years and lock them inside of a mirror for another billion years. Like, this is edgy bullshit. Stop it. I like my honorable characters. I like them a lot. Stop trying to ruin this for me, V. And ignoring first antagonist turns into a good guy, which happens in Steven Universe, and I love old guy is surprisingly strong. I like it when like there's just a power level. You never get weak. You just keep getting stronger and stronger, and I just love it when the old guys are just like, oh yeah, apparently just all strength is accumulative. I never grew weak, and they just kick ass. I love that shit. I absolutely fucking love it.
It's funny when they look frail and old, but then suddenly, like when it matters, suddenly they almost burst their shirt because all the muscles.
Yeah, it's so dumb, but I love it. I love it when
call an ambulance, but not for me.
yeah, 100% that meme in a nutshell. So, I love it when the old guy comes in, he looks really calm, he's serene, he's gone through life, he's had his experiences, and then the bad guy's like, who's this old guy? And he's like, haha, you forgot, we're working in anime logic, you only get stronger as you get older. I love that shit. And that's my last honorable mention.
Nice. Kesser.
Yeah, so one of my honorable mentions is the trope of wild child. The reason it's not on my list is because like it very rarely gets done really well in a way that I like it, because usually the wild child is like a side character, or if it's a main character, for some reason at some point the writers encountered some kind of issue and they basically just throw it to the wind for some reason, or like it feels like they just throw it to the wind because suddenly they can I don't know, they can talk the language fluently or whatever, and or master something that they should not have any knowledge of, like randomly out of nowhere. And it's a very thin line where I like it, and most of the time I do not. So
it's
I will give them a chance if they do it.
My least favorite like example of that is a character that comes from like the farms and is hacking mainframes by the end of the second episode. It's like, no, he doesn't even have a concept of keyboards, you fuckers. Like, stop it.
Yep. Yeah. And my other honorable mention is like a classic. It's The Hero's Journey. I just like it. It's simple. It's effective. I like it.
It's not simple. It's the core of every single story.
Yeah. Not every single story, but it's like a core for many stories.
Yeah. It's a really good guideline on how to write a good story. Like, these tropes are good for a reason. They're part of the toolkit for a writer, and I think dismissing them as all shit is a travesty. My honorable mentions. I have some. My honorable mentions are all love-based ones because I didn't want to talk about this in depth as the main ones. I love a lot of love tropes so long as they are not the focus of the fucking tale. If the story is it's a romance, I will probably switch off immediately. But I love random romance plots sitting in the background doing its goddamn thing. We're just friends, honest. I love that one. We're just friends, honest. I like that. I love getting home to someone I care about. I like having that in the background. It gives them a dimension. It gives them something to aim for. It doesn't have to be a huge thing, but like, I have someone I care about, and someone cares about me. It also
makes the character a little bit more fleshed out. Like, they're not just living in the confines of the story, but like they have there's something going on in the background that we don't necessarily see.
It builds something to them. And love makes you evil. You do shitty things because you're in love. I kind of like that. I love seeing that randomly pop up in episodes. I'm going to sell my soul to the devil so my loved one can come back from the dead. Do you know? Cool, great, I'm into that. I will breach into a research facility and kill hundreds of people just to get the cure for something that my partner has. Like, I'm into that shit. I didn't want to talk too much about love stuff. They're my honorable mentions.
Funnily enough, none of us talked about love stuff. We hate love. We hate romance. No romance allowed here.
Bitter old people.
I think also because there are so many love tropes I fucking hate.
Yeah, I think we're saving them for that.
We're saving those for the episode where we talk about our least favorite tropes.
Yes, top 3 shit tropes. The loved ones generally just they grate me the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And again, it has to be as a part of the story, not the focus. I won't watch rom-coms because I just do not enjoy them. Neil, what have you got as your honorable mentions, Neil?
On a bunch of the lists that I've seen, people have called dragons tropes. And that I like them. And
I guess.
Yeah.
I like cats. Tropes.
That's this next one.
I'm sorry.
I got one more. Heists.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. No, you're right.
Now I'm flashing back. No, I had this idea literally on a call with y'all. We were talking about Dark and Darker. I was talking about how they should make a game that's like Payday, where you do heist, but it's in a fantasy setting with like dragons and stuff. Yep. That'd be so cool. Someone can steal that idea from me. I want to make the soundtrack though.
This is a verbal contract. If you made it, Neil has to make the soundtrack. This is a verbal contract.
It's the deal. Rip it off all you want, but that's the deal.
He'll do it for free. He just wants to make it.
I have
No. We're doing this wrong. We have to charge for Neil's services. He's so good. He needs to be paid.
You're right. Neil's services are really good.
Fair. Yes. Pay Neil.
I have.
You don't need to steal his idea. Just pay him.
I have one.
No reason. Just PayPal him.
I have one last trope. I forgot. I didn't write it down because I remembered it while we were talking about. This is the dumbest trope, and it's literally just because I'm a 5-year-old at heart. It's when all the friends are cheering on the good guy. when they're, for some reason, standing by the sideline and just yelling, "Yeah, go, keep going, you can do it." I love it. I love it when they have like 20 friends all shouting at him, and you get to see all the different characters that they've made friends with over the series. That's one of mine.
Raw while Squash was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah,
everyone eating popcorn off to the side.
That episode.
I can't believe that happened. I can't believe you've done this to me.
That was super funny. All right, I guess that's it for this episode. So
oh look, it's only 2 hours.
Ooh.
It's basically 2-ish hours. By the time we cut everything, it's maybe 2 hours. And add our 400 ads in. Thank you
So we
guys
can
so
pay
much.
you.
This was great. Thank you all for listening. Hopefully, if you didn't know what a trope was and you only thought they were negative, hopefully we've done the opposite of that now, which is probably a trope in itself.
Spread some light on the tropiness.
So now we need to randomly determine the next person, and I have little signs here that I made that are like plant potters that have everybody's names on them. That I made just for y'all. So I'm just gonna throw them in the air, not look at them, and grab one at random.
And the one that flies highest is the name.
No, the one that I pull out first. So I'm just going to throw them randomly in the air. Oh, look, it's Kessie. There we go.
Is it?
Kessier's
Oh
next.
my!
That was really impressive. V was juggling them, and then she threw one behind her head, and then grabbed it behind her ear, and that was Kessier's one. That was really impressive.
And Aether walked into a room and threw in a bunch of fire sticks in there. Like
really impressive.
That was,
Yeah, so we're actually at 2 hours and 40 minutes. I actually put on a quite impressive display. We've just cut out. Because it's all visual gags and this is an audio podcast. But it's basically Kessier next.
You can sign up for like the $40 Patreon to see the video.
No, Kessier, we're lying. Don't claim this video.
No, that's funny, because so is Kessier. There is no $40 Patreon.
There's gonna be one by the time this episode airs.
No.
Oh no! Anyway, thank you all so much for listening, and I guess we will see you next month.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Neil, say bye.
No, we need to say goodbye.
Yeah. Do it.
Neil.
He doesn't want to say bye because that means it's gonna end.
Neil.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to episode 9 of 4 Top 3s. This was a really fun subject to come up with. I have a lot of opinions about tropes and about writing, even though I'm not a writer myself, so it was a lot of fun, and I'm very glad that the guys managed to work within my parameters of, bro, don't be a bummer. But they did, and it was a lot of fun. And I also want to do a shout out to Red Odyssey, which is a podcast whose trailer you're gonna hear now.
This has been a Blighthouse Studio production. Thank you for listening.
I was 13. I herded lambs beyond the village on the Lee. The magic of the sun, perhaps, or what was it, affected me. I felt with joy all overcome, as though with God.
Rover operator Ilya Zakharov, authorization number 00461 of the Luna Agricultural Expedition Program.
The time for lunch had long passed by, and still among the weeds I lay, and prayed to God, I know not why. It was so pleasant then to pray.
Phantom 9, initialize.
But not for long the sun stayed kind. Not long in bliss I prayed.
Phantom 9 initialized.
It turned into a ball of fire and set the world ablaze. As though just wakened up I gaze, the hamlets drab and poor, and God's blue heavens, even they, are glorious no more.
Ilya! Don't let it see you!
From Denouncer Media comes a brand new experience in audio horror, Red Odyssey, starring Allison Cossett, Peter Wicks, Sarah Golding, Erica Sanderson, James Scully, Peter Wyszynski, and Brandon Levine. Red Odyssey, a Lovecraftian horror story you will never forget. Coming September 8th wherever you get your podcasts.